Can folks in the virtual
Right.
world see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Look at that. Beautiful. All right, we're in business. What time do I have to? What time is it over? 35 minutes? Plenty of time. I'll let introduce yourself. We are very happy to have someone again here to talk about college, and we are live streaming. All right, it's all me. It's all me. I'm on stage. Hi, everyone. How's it going? Good. Decent. I'm going to try to listen to you all. I got the people in the virtual world out here as well. Hi, virtual space. How we doing? Like I'm expecting a response from them. They're going to wave back at me like, hi, everyone. Everybody joining us from everywhere. Thanks for being here this morning. My name is Chris. I'm the Associate Director of Admissions at, well, where am I from? Texas. It feels like I drove from Texas this morning, but Texas is out there. I know that. Texas, it's a lot warmer where you are. Trust us. But anyway, thanks for being here again. My name is Chris. I'm a first generation college student, originally from New York City. Been in Burlington, Vermont about 7 years now. Happy to be up here. My family's up here. It's good to be away from Manhattan, I'll be honest. But why am I here today? We're going to talk about some college, going to talk about the application process, going to talk about what next steps are. Because you all are seniors, right? Okay, cool, very good. Have we started applying to colleges yet? Some, maybe, yes, no? Cool, all right, right on, good, very good. How's that process going? Done, good. All right, if we're done, that makes this easy. Good to meet everybody, I'm done here too, perfect. I thought it was over. All right, so for me, what we'll do is we'll talk about some application process tips, right? Because some of us are done, some of us are doing this thing, some of us have heard back from colleges. Hopefully some good news. Maybe we're gonna see soon. All right. Virtual space will do the same thing. If y'all can see my screen, my job today, if I do a halfway decent job of it, is to get some of this process covered, demystify the application process, talk about college, but do some real talk. This isn't about UVM necessarily. This is about how to get you all to college, whether it's 2-year, 4-year, if that's what you're thinking about doing. All right. For me, I'm nothing honest. Ask me questions. Like it's important. There's no airs about me today. It's not about ego. I want to make sure you leave here today feeling good, feeling informed, because this process is a lot. College is changing. There's, well, how many schools are out there in the United States right now? Anyone want to guess? 4,000. I heard in the back somewhere. Yes. So your job is to visit all 4,000 of those schools. Right? Okay. No, definitely not. All right. Some students are like, sure, write this down. No, that's not the case. We want you to check out schools that are the right fit for you, right? And fit is a big term. So my job today is to hopefully unpack what fit means, what we look at as admissions people, and of course, help you land in a place that's going to make you and everybody happy. That sound good? You with me so far? All right, very cool. I have till what time? 9:51? Right? Okay, my watch says 7:05, so that's not going to help me. So keep me honest here, right? So what we'll do first, as I mentioned, we're going to jump into finding the right fit, the timeline, and what is holistic review? Well, question, what is holistic review? What's that mean? Absolutely. Looks at the whole picture, right? Because when colleges admit students, it's not just about grades, not just about testing, it's not just about what you do, it's about you all, right? We want people to come to our campuses and form our community because you're individuals, you're into different things, you have different beliefs, you have different questions, you're interested in different activities. That's what makes our colleges pop. That's what makes us interesting no matter what school you go to. Okay, so when a college looks at a student, we want to look at you, not just a number, but the person. All right. So what you're hopefully you have done or are doing is seeking out some help. We're here today. Why are we here? To get some help. Because this process is intense. There's a lot going on, right? So you have your college counselors, you have your high school teachers, you have admissions counselors. That's kind of my job. That's what I do, right? Answer questions about the college process and help people through this crazy work. And of course, parents and family. Now, some of your parents may have gone to college. Some of you, like mine, did not. So my parents were super supportive, but they didn't know what this process looked like. And that was okay, because you all have other resources. especially college websites and social media, right? How many of you have used a college website as part of your college search? I hope so, right? How many of you have gotten all sorts of marketing materials from various colleges around the country? A little bit? What do you do with all those materials? They make good Tinder. Yes, this is true. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'll feel the same. You know how much money we spend on those materials? But anyway, point being, those are important, but at the end of the day, it's about your search. It's about the high school visits. It's about using the websites, going to check out campuses. And of course, search, 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 right? And talk to friends, talk to family members, talk to people who've gone through this before who could help you through that process. Because what do admissions counselors do? We come and visit, we wear our flashy shirts, we send you materials. You guys obviously burn them, which is fantastic. But we want you to get the real story. Talk to current students. I think it's really important. Talk to people you know. Talk to people who may attend that school because they're going to tell you the real deal about each institution. So again, all great stuff here, but the biggest takeaway from this slide is ask for help. This is a big process. They pay me to do this work. It's intimidating, it's intense, but you have help here. You have help here through various resources, right? So don't afraid to reach out. There's no shame in it. It's not embarrassing. I promise you, if you have that question, most of the people in the country will too. All right, so finding the right fit. What's important to you? Okay, is it your major? Is it the location of that school? Is it the internships they offer? Is it study abroad? Is it extracurricular activities, right? Is there any one thing that jumps out on this list of people? What do you want to do when you go to school? What's your most important thing? Learn. Good answer. How do you want to learn though? Like where, right? Do you want to learn here or somewhere else? Is it sports? Is it clubs? These are all things you want to think about. Okay. So as you're looking at schools, it's not just about major. That's important. Don't get me wrong, what you want to study, but it's also what are you going to do while you're there? Who are you going to meet? Are you going to travel? Do some internships, maybe community service, play a sport, do the arts, get involved in social, get involved in media. These are all things you can get involved in. So for us, we want you to just not focus on one element of this process, but all various parts of it. Cool? Sound good? Making sense so far? Kind of, sort of. All right. Ask questions anytime if you need to. Throw a hand up. Happy to help. Okay, so one thing I can't do is take us back in time. So this was junior year. Hopefully you've done some of this, but as seniors, we're gonna move a little forward, right? We're looking at senior year. Okay, so as you all mentioned, you started your college applications. Many of us have finished them. Many of us have already heard from some schools. That's all good. You continue college visits. You've done your recommendation letters, and your transcripts, hopefully from your high schools, have already been submitted because that's what we look at in the college side. But again, by this point in senior year, I think most of you have done this already. So that's a good thing. We're at the point in the winter where decisions are starting to come back. As mentioned, you have a few different ways to apply to school. Do you ever know what the common application is? Okay. What that does is allow you to apply to over 800 different schools throughout the country. All right. Fun fact, this past weekend, many schools had a common application deadline. Did anybody try to apply to a college this weekend? 2 months ago? That's cool. Oh no. Well, it's funny you say that because this past weekend there was a glitch in the Common App, right? So if you tried to apply to a school between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., there was actually a snag. So you might still be able to apply to that school. So the takeaway there is don't wait till the last minute on deadlines. All right. But you can apply to the Common App, the Coalition, or that school's particular application. Deadlines, there's a few. A couple of these have probably already passed. Early action and early decision are two, which again may already be kind of past at this point. But what they basically means is you apply to a college and you get an answer a little bit sooner than you would if you applied regular decision. Okay. Now, regular, those dates are still coming up. UVM's deadline just passed. It was January 15th. Some schools have February 1, some schools have February 15th. You still have some time to apply and you'll be notified usually in March. And lastly, rolling admissions. That basically means is you can apply to a college anytime. They'll review all your materials. and they'll get you a decision back on a rolling basis, right? And that basically means there's no set deadline and there's no notification deadline. They just give you information as it goes. With me so far? Does all make sense? Feel pretty good? All right, again, ask questions. No problem here. I can hear most of what you're going on. So, and that goes in the virtual space too. If you guys have questions, I guess throw them in the chat or we'll answer them at the end. All right, so probably the biggest takeaway of my whole presentation today is this: holistic review. As we mentioned, what does that mean? First thing that every college is going to look at in the country is going to be your grades. Okay, so now you're all seniors. Most of the work is done. 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, and yes, this year too, are going to be the first thing that every school out there is going to consider. Cool. So you've done a lot of the work 3 years, but don't mail it in just yet. Seniors got to keep it going. All right. So we're going to look at that first semester work this year and the work you continue to do over the course of the remainder of the year, right? The classes you take, the grades you get, all the accomplishments you have are going to be on that transcript, because every school, that's the first thing they look at. Make sense? All right, cool. And the courses you're taking too, because these are the classes we're going to want to see as part of an admissions review. Depending on your major, we're going to look at specific classes, but the most ones we look at are going to be your English, your social science, your foreign language, and your math classes. All right, so if you take music courses, you're taking other types of courses, those will count too, but those 5 core courses are the first things that every school is going to consider first. After that, and this is a big one, test scores. What did many schools this year do when it came to testing? Were they test required or test optional? Test optional, right? Yes. So if a school says you can apply test optional, what that means is you don't have to submit SATs or ACTs for that matter. This could help you, okay? If your grades are good, and I'll use my own example, my grades are pretty good, my testing was okay. If you're the type of student whose grades are better than their test scores, you could apply to a school test optional and be considered the same way as you would if you submitted testing, right? All of a sudden I got attention. So if you're that student whose transcript is super strong, SATs, ACTs, not so much, think about going test optional. It could open doors for you and open possibilities for you. And again, schools will look at you the same way when it comes to admission and when it comes to scholarship too. All right, that's really important. So test optional, a big thing that many schools did this past year because of COVID. A lot of people couldn't get access to testing, so we went test optional. Take advantage of that opportunity if it's there for you. Again, if your testing may not meet the traditional standard. As we talked about earlier, we want to admit people. It's not just about numbers, right? So that college essay, that's important. How many of y'all started your essays? All right. Was it fun or was it hard? Was it hard to do? The college essay, good, bad? I'm seeing literally like this. Perfect. All right. That essay does tell us who you are, right? Because think about it. It's the only time we hear from you as a student. So that college essay will give us insight into your story. Recommendation letters are from somebody else. Grades, they're fine, but they don't tell me what you're all about. SAT scores definitely don't. Okay, so that college essay is your chance to tell us who you are as a person. What story do you want us to know? What do you want us to hear, right? So essay is important because again, it gives me context as to you. Rec letters will come from your teachers, and a resume will be something that, yes, we want to see students who are involved. Okay, so whether you play a sport, whether you do community service, how many of y'all work outside of school? All right, does that go in a college resume? Yes, it does, most definitely. Okay, it shows time, it shows responsibility, it shows management. So if you work outside of school, how many of you take care of brothers and sisters when you're outside of school? All right, if you take care of family members, that is an important thing too. It shows commitment, it shows responsibility. These are all things that show where your time goes. Okay, so don't be afraid to put this on an essay. You'll seen or you have seen in the application that there's space for you to list your activities as you go. And we want to see what people do during the course of their day in addition to school. Interviews, demonstrated interest, these can all count. Interviews are offered by some schools, not offered by all. Demonstrated interest has gotten pretty easy. Back in the day, you used to have to get in a car, drive to that campus, visit that school, sign in somewhere, and check in with people. Now, you log on to a website, sign up, you can watch our virtual information session live and in person. That counts. Colleges track that. Colleges want to see if you've reached out to them and engaged them in some way, right? So make sure you check out a school or college. If you do, sign up. Let somebody know you were there, whether it was in person or virtually. Because again, schools want to see students who are reaching out to them. It's a two-way street. It's a process. That makes sense? Cool. It's hard to tell without seeing faces like this. All I'm seeing is eyes. We're going to make it work. Again, throw hands if you have questions. And lastly, essays, supplements, those can come and check, but some schools will look for them, some not so much. If you have them, you want to submit them, great. But key takeaways are going to be transcript, demonstrated interest, and that essay are going to be critical. All right, as we said, the holistic review demonstrates potential for success, ensures a good match. Match is a two-way street. This is something where the school's got to be a fit for you, and you got to be a fit for that school. And of course, we want to get to know you, as mentioned. It's a multi-tiered process. So what are we doing now? We're waiting for decisions. And when those decisions come rolling in, you're going to start to visit schools again. But of course, to how many of you is money important in this process? And when I say money, scholarship and financial aid. Everybody should have their hand up here, okay? Finances are important. There's two types of scholarship. There's scholarship based on merit. Could be athletic, could be arts-based. Scholarship is free money. That's the money you don't have to pay back. All right, so when you're looking at your schools and colleges, talk about scholarship. Ask them what's available, what's out there, how do I qualify? Is there a separate application involved? Is it based on my own application? That's the money you want. There's also financial aid, and that comes with the FAFSA. That's the free application for federal student aid that basically you submit, and colleges will come back with a number that will provide loans, grants, work study, things of that nature. Because that'll basically maximize your opportunities to attend college with a financial supplement, if you will. So two types, scholarship, financial aid. Cool? All right, I'm keeping an eye on my clock there. I see I have like 5 minutes left, so I'm moving fast. What'll happen is hopefully in a couple months, all those schools you were admitted to, go back and visit them, right? If you can, go check them out, whether it's online or preferably in person. Because the biggest thing about every school I've been at, and I've been in a few of them, it's about culture, right? Websites are flashy, marketing materials are all polished, all the students are smiling, they got their shiny face on, they're doing their poses, all good. Walk on that campus, get a feel for it. Go to the student center, check out the library, check out the dining halls, residence halls. That's where the action happens. That's where people live. That's where they learn, right? That's where the life is. So when you get to that point and you get admitted to your school or college, go back and see it before you make that decision. And then talk to admissions people, fine, then talk to current students who are there because they'll tell you the good and the bad. And no place is perfect. And that's really important. So people are what this process is all about. And then you have until May 1 to make that final decision. All right, and closing, I want to open up for questions in case there are any. You have till May 1st to make a decision. All right, so keep organized, right? You've got your emails, hopefully that works. You've got all the list of your schools that you applied to. And then, of course, as mentioned before, when your admit letters come in, make sure visiting is important. Okay? Was that somewhat helpful, hopefully? It was kind of the short version, so we were just shorter on time. What questions can I answer from the audiences, multiple, about college process, application process, financial aid? Is there anything out there you want to know? And again, don't be shy. Go for it.
So there was some like the scholarship application process. So some people were saying apply as many scholarships as possible, and then I have other people, most family members, that some saying that they had like that they themselves, people they know of applied like hundreds of scholarships, maybe they only got one. So I don't really know how much should we be looking for outside scholarships, and how much should we just kind of focusing on scholarships that pertain to our school.
Perfect. Great question. And what I'll do, and the question for the audience was, I'll repeat it, was about scholarships. Even though we don't have time for my full financial aid show, let's talk about scholarships real quick. I got 6 minutes. So basically, throw them on my buckets here. We're gonna make this work. As you can tell, I was not a graphic designer. This was not my best effort in a PowerPoint, but we made it work. It gets the point, right? So go back to scholarships. Like I said, you have two types. You have the left bucket, which is your merit-based aid. All right, that's the scholarships you're talking about. Those are the ones that come from the colleges, they come from the high schools, they come from community organizations. These are all things maximize your chances. So to answer your question, when you're applying to that college, ask me what scholarships are out there. At UVM, for example, every student who applies to University of Vermont is considered for a merit scholarship based on the application itself. No additional forms needed, okay? We also have additional scholarships that require an essay or an interview, things of that nature. Those usually come from the high school. But to your point, I've been on scholarship boards before where there is scholarship money out there. All you gotta do is write an essay, go on an interview, maybe just community service. Nobody applies because nobody takes the time. So put that effort out there. I promise you there'll be plenty of opportunity. I can't guarantee you a scholarship, but there is one available. And on that right-hand side, as mentioned, that's the financial aid part, right? That's when it comes with the FAFSA. That's that free application for federal student aid. That's where work study comes from. That's where grants come from. Those sometimes have to be paid back. So be careful when your scholarship offers come in. You want to make sure you have somebody look at them who knows their way around the room. Because some schools will put big numbers out there, like you got this much money for college. That's cool, unless the majority of it is loans. All right. So you want to be careful at what money is the free money and what money is scholarship money. Loans and grants. Was that helpful? Answer your question somewhat? Very cool. Anybody else?
Someone asked about dropout rate, which is across America is approaching 35% or so.
Sure.
Why is it you think that's the case? I think it gets to what Chris was saying. You go to a school and the major's like all that's important, right? The major, what school, but like do you actually like it? Like you show up, you're gonna meet friends, you're gonna like it. To me, that's everything. Is it a fun school? All kinds of things. Why do you think that kids, and it could be the match piece, but why do you think the dropout rate is so high? What advice might you have?
Sure. Great question about dropout rate. My speculation is, especially recently, we've all been through a lot. The last 18 months, the last 24 months have been intense in a variety of different ways, right? Not just for you all, not just at home, but for me and on college campuses, for everybody. Okay. So I think people, especially in the last couple of years, have gone to college with grand aspirations of what it was going to look like, right? This big residential experience, clubs, sports, the whole thing. That kind of got pulled out from under us, okay, for everybody. College was not the same the last 2 years. At UVM, we did have an on-campus experience. It looked a little different for sure, but we still had people there. And that helped our retention. So our numbers weren't quite that high of people sticking around, but I do feel like at large, it comes back to doing your research, doing your homework, especially on the financial side. I think that's really important. I've seen students who will get into a school, they go off to that school or college, not really doing the math and the financial piece of it. So I implore you, as you're looking at your schools, be excited about all the things that are out there, but also make sure the financial piece is backed up too. And again, there are support from the colleges, from various organizations to help you unpack what that looks like.
Because, for example, sticker shock, you look at a college and you say, oh my God, $50,000 a year. I can't do that. But like at UVM, for example, after aid and everything else, it's more like in 20, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So certain schools are 60, NYU pushing stuff, but in the end, each school is going to vary, right? But it's going to be way lower than you see.
That's a great point. Yeah, the point John's making is the idea of sticker price, right? When you look at a college's website, you're going to see these huge numbers. I was driving here today in the snow, and there was a story on NPR about how colleges have gotten more and more expensive every single year. The increase has gone up, right? Most students don't pay full price, okay? That's something called a discount rate. And many schools don't put their discount rate on their website. They don't make it available. But a discount rate is basically what it sounds like. It's how much money they take off the sticker price to help you attend that school. Okay, so when you see a big number, I'm not saying ignore it, but also don't think that's what everybody pays, because the far majority of students do not. At UVM, for example, about 89% of our students qualified for financial aid last year. Okay, question?
Why? I mean, this is what
That's an excellent question. For those in the audience, the question was, why charge that much money if you're just going to knock it down later? Is that a fair way to say it? That is an existential higher education conundrum. That's a great question.
Like, you know, if you're just gonna knock it down later, might as well make it like a reasonable price and then maybe not small.
I tell you what, that makes logistical sense in a lot of ways. You should hang on to that, but the best answer is I feel like because not everybody does pay below price. Some students will pay that full sticker price, believe it or not, no matter how expensive those schools are, you'd be amazed that some students just have deep pockets. That is the far minority of students who can do that. The far majority of students, again, will pay some type of discounted, but that discount will vary based on your family's background, based on the merit scholarships you get. So there's a lot of variables that go into play, but that is a great question and a very fair one.
Rolling admissions doesn't mean you can apply up to the date of when school starts. Castleton University, a week into the semester and they still took them. I mean, I would say it's for you all, it's a buyer's market right now. Colleges want students badly, so you're in a good position actually. But there are, I don't know if Plattsburgh State has rolling admissions, but there's a lot of SUNY schools that do. But Castleton, like, it's not too late if you're still, some of you might want to go to the workforce, totally good decision, right? But if you're still thinking about it, you have time. Now, some schools, the deadline, if you're just thinking about career, college, it's not too late for that.
Yeah, John made a really good point. You are in a buyer's market for sure. That same news story I heard this morning driving in, they made the point that colleges need students, right? And that's where that discount rate comes into play. Like, we need you all as much as you need us. Some schools have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to applications. My former institution had 105,000 students apply last year. Say that again, 105,000. That is wild. That is the exception. Most schools want you to come to their campus. They need you to apply. They need you to attend, right? So as you're looking, use that to your advantage. Cast a wide net. Look at a variety of different schools, both locally, a little bit further away. Keep your options open. And that's probably my best piece of advice. I know the bell's going to ring any minute, is keep an open mind. I think it's really important to not go in thinking you know exactly what you want, because that may change as this process unfolds. Your priorities may change and your interests may change. So anyway, I know we just wrapped up. I want to thank you all for coming. I know we were short-lived, but I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, but good luck in this process. Good luck next year. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. You're very, very welcome. Thank you.